Hi everyone, I'm Shelly and you're watching There's No Place Like Home. I'm back with another video and today's topic is Caesarius of Arles on Revelation 16:14. This is part of a little series that I've been doing in which I have been sharing quotes from what many people would call early church fathers. Sometimes I'll be sharing quotes from earlier theologians. And the purpose of this is to refute the idea that all, and I'm going to just put this in quotes again, early church fathers were premillennialists and that all of them were looking forward to a future fulfillment of prophecy, including the book of Revelation. In fact, there are many early theologians, early Christians who would have been considered to be partial preterists at the very least, in which they, by and large, would have said that much of what's even in the book of Revelation was already fulfilled in the past. That's what preterism means. It means past fulfillment. So, I've been getting these quotes, just so you know, from the book The Return of Christ, Why Are We Still Waiting? By Pete and Rachel Rue. I will leave a link in the description if you wanted to check the book out. It's a really good book, and I mention it from time to time. But first, before we find out what Caesarius of Arles had to say about Revelation 14, in case you're not familiar with him, let's just read a little bit about him. Caesarius of Arles was the foremost ecclesiastic of his generation in Merovingian Gaul. Caesarius is considered to be the last generation of church leaders of Gaul who worked to integrate large-scale ascetic elements into the Western Christian tradition. William E. Klingshirn's study of Caesarius depicts Caesarius as having the reputation of a popular preacher of great fervor and enduring influence. And if you see down here, he lived from between 468 and 470 until 542 AD, and he was a Merovingian archbishop and saint. Now, since the quote that we're going to be reading is about Revelation 16:14, it would make sense first to read what Revelation 16:14 has to say. Revelation 16:14 says, "For they are spirits of demons performing signs, which go out to the kings of the whole world to gather them together for the war of the great day of God, the Almighty." Okay, now let's read what Caesarius has to say about this passage. On this passage, the great day is able to be understood as that desolation when Jerusalem was besieged by Titus and Vespasian. Yes, you heard that right. The great day that is mentioned here, the great day of God, according to Caesarius and many other believers, I might add, was actually when Jerusalem was besieged by Titus and Vespasian. And when did that happen? That happened in AD 70. Now, we can read a little bit more about this desolation, as Caesarius called it, in Luke 21:20. When Jesus said, "But when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, then know that its desolation has come near." So many people look at these verses when Jesus said these things, and they think that it's talking about our future. And not only that, they think that it's talking about our future and the end of the world. But actually, if you go on to verse 21, past that, it says, "Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Let those in the city get out, and let those in the country stay out of the city." So, Jesus told them to, if they were in Judea, to flee to the mountains. If this was an end of the world scenario, fleeing to the mountains would not have done anything. Okay? This is not about a future end of the world happening. Matthew 24, verse 15, and then verse 16. "So when you see standing in the holy place the abomination of desolation spoken of by the prophet Daniel, let the reader understand, Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Caesarius was talking about when Titus surrounded Jerusalem. And this happened in 70 AD, and this culminated in not only the destruction of the city, it culminated in the destruction of the temple, which was, by and large, it was actually not just by and large, it was the end of the Old Covenant age, because they were no longer able to perform their sacrifices, the requirements of the law, without that temple. Now, interestingly, in 66 AD, a general named Caesarius Gallus, who was the governor of Syria, he took an army, surrounded Jerusalem at that time in 66 AD. But then, for an unknown reason that to this day people still do not know, he pulled back all of his armies and they left. And it is believed that that was an act of God, so that the believers who were going to heed Jesus's warning here about when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, you will know that her desolation is near. Let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. When Caesarius Gallus's troops pulled back, the believers who were in Jerusalem, they fled, and they went to a place in Perea called Pella. Then later, in 70 AD, when Titus came in and surrounded Jerusalem again, that was the desolation of Jerusalem. So, if we go back to Revelation 16:14, for they are spirits of demons performing signs, which go out to the kings of the whole world to gather them together for the war of the great day of God the Almighty. According to Caesarius, and again many others, the war of the great day of God was the war in Jerusalem in AD 70. That's all that I have for you today. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed and would like to hear more of what I have to say, I would love if you would do that. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave one down below. And if you like my work and would like to become a channel member, I will leave a link in the description box for that as well, or you can just click on it right on my channel page. And I hope you have a great day.